I'll do a quick video on how to tell a real GT on these 64.5, 65, 66 Mustangs. Starting in 67 you can get a Marty report, which will let you know if it left the factory as a GT or not. But before then, there's just a lot of things you can look at to see if it's a real one or not, starting with the VIN. The VIN on a GT for the 5th digit will either have an A or a K. So as long as your VIN tag is still in place here, you should be able to see that. We've got a 5th digit of an A, so that is the 225 horsepower 289 versus the C code, which was 200 horsepower. So the next thing I always look at is just a quick exterior view just to see if we've got everything it should have from the exterior side. So we've got the fog lights. It's a good start. We've got the GT badging. But you always have to keep in mind that all of these things I'm showing right now are very easy to add to any Mustang. So, I never get too excited when I see one pull in that's badged as a GT, because 90% of them aren't real GTs. We've got the GT gas cap. The harder one to do is to swap out this rear valance here, where the exhaust actually exits through the rear valance. And then a GT would have trumpet exhaust tips, which I'll throw up a picture of what those look like. This one does not have those exhaust tips. But again, if the exhaust was redone at some point in this car's life, then they might not go back with the exhaust tips. But typically, on a real GT, you're going to see somebody stick to pretty original, and they're going to want to have those trumpet exhaust tips. Now I'm going to pop the hood and we'll look around under there. Alright, so another good thing to look for when you're looking for that 5th digit in the VIN is if you have this stamped VIN right here, which we do. I'm trying to get the light to show it there. So again, the same VIN, 5th digit's an A. The other nice thing we have on this car is the buck tag, which is what basically shows the guys on the assembly line what options to add. As you can see, it says like air conditioning. We've got a code for RM. I'm not sure what that is, but the VIN is also on there. And same thing, 5th digit is an A, so that's all good. Everything's looking good at that point. Next thing I always look for is the sway bar. So the GTs had a 1-inch sway bar, which, give you an idea, probably pretty close to the size of this. Well, if you look down there, look down at the sway bar, it's very, very small. It's probably a 3/4 inch sway bar, which is a standard one. So that to me on this car was kind of the first indication that, hey, this probably isn't a GT. But again, somebody does a restoration, they buy the wrong sway bar, they go with the smaller one. That's possible. That's possible. So the next thing I look at then is the steering gearbox. So right down here you can see where we're going in. Back up so you get a view of where we're looking down here. Steering gearbox right down there. See if I can zoom in and get these numbers. HCCAT is the number on this steering box, okay? So that is going to tell me which steering box this is, if it's the quick ratio that the GTs came with or not. So again, we talked about this in the Boss 302 video, but handy dandy Mustang Red Book. Steering gear ratio. See right here, HCCAT is a 19.9 to 1. The AX and the AW are the quick ratio steering boxes. So for this being a GT, the steering box would also be wrong. So now we've got two things going against it, saying it's not a real GT. So hopefully that little video helps you out if you're looking to buy a GT Mustang. And like I said, those are 6, 7, 8 things that I can always check really quick when we're taking a car in here to kind of at a glance, within a minute or so, kind of tell if it's a real GT or not. Even if it has all of those things correct, it's still not 100% proof that it's a GT. The only way to know 100% for sure is if you've got original window sticker, original sales documentation, something like that shows that it got the GT equipment group from the factory. So if you have any questions or anything else you look for when you're shopping for a first-gen Mustang, comment down below. Thanks for watching.